This is my detective for the Sonoran Desert Scent Work Club, and my start line was between these two cones, and it was actually coming toward us. It's just really, really windy out there, so I'm standing here instead. My interior hides, I had one right here. I had one right here. And then I had one right on this. And I had one inaccessible under the podium. So those were the 4 that I had in here. Now it was very interesting because the airflow would blow in. Every time we opened the door, it would just push straight across, and it would actually pool back here. We had a bunch of pooling back there. And then this hide, which you'd think, oh, I'm just going to trot past it, my dog's going to get it. No, that's not really the way it worked, because it was the odor would pool every time, again, we opened the door, it would blow into the back and it would pool back there, but there wasn't a really clear line from there back to here in that way, because the blowing would like destroy the line and then it would have to rebuild. Now, with that said, part of the line did stay with us, but it stayed with us going across, hooking on these 2 legs, and then hooking on this leg along the top, and then the farthest leg. It did not keep continuity going this way. So a lot of dogs would go trot, 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 trot through here, and they wouldn't really get anything. They had to get it this way where it had something to catch on, or they had to come up in between, or they had to actually go to the table itself and work a piece of the table. The inaccessible under our podium was really catching. We had pooling, and then it was pushing through this little gap right here, and then would go through here, and then was actually all along this wall and everything, and dogs would actually come this way, and they would jump all over this little divider. They would also go in between these 2 things, push back here, and they would get it that way as well. But some dogs just trotted through here, turned around, and came back out, depending on how they worked it. So there was some really clear spaces, but you had to push either into the corner just a little bit, or they would come around and then actually work up and then back in. My threshold right here, for some dogs, worked beautifully as a threshold. Other dogs would give me that beautiful picture where they would hit the far end, and then that little table, and then come in and hit it as a middle. So they'd work it as like a triangle in a middle or a line. And then this one that was here was pretty easy for the dogs that comparatively. So picture-wise, for most dogs, they hit this one by just trotting past, head snap back into it, and they would hit it. Yes, this is the door to the exterior, and we had an interesting challenge, which the handlers were allowed to open their own door. But we had an interesting challenge because goats, they're laying down right now. If you can see them kind of looking at us. Hi guys. But they got a lot because most of the time they weren't napping. They'd come all the way up here and they'd stand here and they would snort and stomp. So they were pretty distracting that way. So they would come out and we basically just had a line that came across and across. And then if you look way down, right about there, there's another line of cones down there. And we only had one hideout here, and it was on this tree right about there. So it was holding really nicely underneath there, so dogs just needed to go past, and the plume was pretty available for them. So that was my detective, and I think overall people did a fantastic job. I was really proud of people and the way they were working this. Some fun challenges, some unique environmental things to work through, and people handled it really well. Happy hunting!